All right, Anthony, how are you? Yeah, we're gonna go over how to do the basics of subject two. Hold on, everybody. All right, so we're gonna go over some basics of subject two. We have subject to contracts and explanations of the addendums and some of those forms already in the course. I'm going to briefly, because I could literally spend a whole hour just going over the contracts. But if I do that, then you won't get the gist. What's going on, LaKendra? You won't get the gist of, subject twos. So that's the whole goal of this thing, to kind of show you the two ways that you can make money off of subject twos. There's other ways, obviously, but the two main in our wholesaling profession, which is either wholesaling them or taking them down ourselves. We're going to kind of give you a little bit of a guideline. J.O., what's up? We're going to give you a little bit of a guideline on what you should be looking for and when you should be doing either one. So it's 7 o'clock. It is 7 o'clock. Bill, hold on. Everybody stop. Hold on. Everybody pause. Good second. My man Bill, who was on here faithfully, bro, I was like, yo, I think I need to call Trenton Fire Department. What is going on with my man Bill? Because Bill heavy. No, Bill, hold on, Bill. Let me finish here. You were on here heavy every day. Missing, but then I see you living life out there with the kids on Instagram. I was like, all right, so at least he alive with us.
Yeah, man, it was a reset season, man. I had to reset, man. Family comes first, man.
I hear that, bro. I hear that, man.
Family comes first, but I had to hit the reset button.
I got some properties. I think 7 Nordack Street, I think is another one, and there's another one 2 blocks away in Trenton. That my aunt always, she's like a bird dog. She always hitting right down there.
That 30 Nordacks, man, I have reached out a few times. It's literally a voicemail, and it's actually filled. The lady name is Jessica.
Where's she living?
I ran it a few times. She's her address is still showing that same house. She doesn't have a different mailing address.
We're going to have to find her, because if that's the case, that's what everybody else is going through. I guarantee you, once you find her, I guarantee you it's a sale.
Okay.
You got to find her. All right.
Anyway.
Huh?
I said I'm back.
All right, you back. All right, Sasha, what's going on, my man? All right, we about to get this thing going, man. Stan, how you doing? All right, so we're talking about subject twos, when to do it. Susie is in the building. Missed you as well. Been missing, MIA for a little bit. We're gonna call you out. It's okay. Be blessed. We're gonna talk about the subject two. So subject two is not subject, even though a lot of times we say it's subject with the number 2. It's subject TO. All right. Subject to pre-existing financing, meaning that this deal is contingent, subject to the loan or the mortgage agreement that is currently in place, meaning that we are not doing away with that agreement that homeowner established when they sat down with their lawyer 15 years ago to sign on the dotted line for that house. We're keeping that promise with that mortgage company. We're keeping the promise with the payments, with the interest, everything that they agreed upon in that initial signing when they first got their mortgage. We are by default agreeing on as well. And so that's why we are doing this deal subject to whatever they agreed upon in the mortgage, the original mortgage. We're clear on that, right? That mortgage stays in place. It does not change. The person who put their social security number on that form 15 years ago or 7 years ago or 2 years ago, whenever they signed for that mortgage, they are still ultimately responsible for the mortgage. But the kicker is, once we do the subject to, they no longer own the house. You're like, oh, how is that possible? They're responsible for the mortgage, but they don't. Here's what it is. Like Jail and Carla, you guys are driving right now. You're in your car, where if you are financing your car, your title is with your finance company. What's going on, Mo? Your title is with your financing company. When you pay your car off, they send you your title, and now you have all rights to do whatever you want to do with it, okay? So with a house, they're separate, right? We have the mortgage document, the instrument that puts a lien on the property, and then we have the deed, all right, that conveys ownership. Mortgage is nothing but a promissory note. That's all it is. It's saying that I, Thomas Holt, promise to pay X amount of dollars every single month for the next 30 years at this particular interest rate, right? So that's just an instrument that says that I promise to pay for this. The deed is the person who owns it, okay? Shows ownership, okay? So I can deed someone, if I wanted to, I could deed someone over my house and pay for the mortgage. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But we have to make sure that if we're doing this, so knowing this, we have to understand that what it really is, the foundation of it. Number two, from an investor standpoint, we need to understand how can we use this creatively to be able to sell properties and help people out that would normally not be able to be helped out. Because our job is to help them through the situation. And if we can do that, then we can get paid. In that order, help them through the situation, then get paid, not get paid, and then try to figure out how we can help them out. Follow me? So this is how we're going to do this thing. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to go onto the whiteboard so you guys can see, because there's times where I think people are getting deals. And if you don't understand clearly this concept, there might be a lead that you get that you discard, and you could have structured this as a subject to deal. Okay, so let me go to the whiteboard. Share. Sorry, my throat is a little raspy. Because Usher came to town, he couldn't sing, and they asked me to do a backup, just in case. And so I only sang a couple of songs, but my voice is a little raspy. So anyway, what we're doing here is there's subject to pre-existing financing. So there's two ways that we can get paid, and we can make money. Well, I keep saying that. There's more than two ways, but I want to focus on the two ways that we can get paid through subject to. One of them is going down and actually wholesaling the property. So I'm just going to put a whole WH. We're going to wholesale the property, and just like normal, we're going to make an assignment fee. Okay. I was going to abbreviate, but then that would be an ASS fee. So I guess I have to write it all out because this is pre-recorded. Assignment fee, right? So I'll tell you about how I did this with one particular property I go back and forth. I kind of wish I would have held it and went through option 2, which I'm going to talk about here. But here's what happened. We have a home where the lady has fallen behind her mortgage. She fell behind her mortgage about $6,000 or so. And she had already moved out, right? She had rented it because she needed to move into more of an assisted living type of a situation, okay? She put a tenant inside. The tenant was he paid, but he was late all the time. It was a hassle, so he wanted to get rid of it. She owed, I believe, $116 in the mortgage. She was like, Tommy, I just need to get about $8,000. If I can get $8,000 out of this thing, I'd be happy. Someone tried to wholesale it. They said they can give me 2. If you can give me 8, it'd be great. The margin on this thing was really, really tight, okay? I believe the ARV, the house, really only thing we probably had to do literally was carpet. The tenant was fantastic as far as keeping it up, keeping it clean. It was beautiful. But the carpet, sometimes like the carpet like bunches up a little bit, so that had some issues with the carpet. So maybe about $3,000-$4,000 in work, okay? So, but she wanted 8, and she owed 116, I believe. So that would put us at 128. The ARV on it, I think, would have been like 150-ish, somewhere around there. Okay. So you could see that when paying closing costs and other things, the traditional 30% profit margin is not there, right? You don't even have to do the math to realize, okay, if we're at 128, it's going to ARV at 150. We got to put maybe $3,000 into it for carpet. So that's 131 plus closing costs, we're probably looking at 135, 136. You could see there, you can see there that there is no 30% profit margin. So what I did is I wholesaled this. So with all those numbers, I added $5,000 onto it. I added my $5,000 wholesaling fee on top of this, and I wholesaled that deal. And the person owns it right now, and they rent it out. They use it as a rental, and they're eventually going to sell it. Okay, so that's one way. The second way is the way that I think, I don't know, I could have did it this way. This is if we take it down ourselves. So if we buy it or take it down, as they say, ourselves. Okay, so if we take it down ourselves, then I'm not paying that extra $5,000, right? Because obviously that'd be stupid for me to charge myself $5,000. But I'm saving money on that end, but now I have to deal with whatever situation comes with that, right? So in that particular case, we had the tenant that did not want to move. He was, he paid, but he didn't pay on time. And I felt like if he found that I had purchased it, that he probably would not want to, he would probably cause more drama, right? I'm just not trying to get into drama. So let's look at how these things plan out. So let's just give you a really easy number to work with. So let's say we come across a property, we're driving down, we do our driving for dollars, and we found a property that if it's fixed up, the ARV would be 100K, okay? So we know that traditionally, regularly, what's gonna happen is that we needed to be at a 0.7 all in, meaning that whoever buys this house from me, if Ali is the investor, okay, if Ali is the investor who wants to fix and flip this property, Ali needs to buy it from me or buy it from the seller, pay me my wholesaling fee, pay for the repairs, and be all in for $70,000. That's how we come up with that, our formula, ARV times 0.7, which is 70%, equals $70,000, okay? So if Ali can do that, if Ali can do all those things and be into this project for $70,000, he can make the difference gross. He can make the gross difference between 70 and 100 is $30,000. He can put that $30,000 and as a gross profit, not net, but as a gross profit. But let's say same thing, ARV, but the homeowner has a mortgage, okay? They have a mortgage that needs to get paid off of $70,000. So there's no way around that. That mortgage has to get paid off, okay? So let's say this is the mortgage, all right? A lot of people would look at this and be like, okay, well, this is a done deal, right? Because I can't wholesale this because we still got to do a little bit of repairs. There's still some, I as a wholesaler, I haven't gotten paid. How do I figure this problem out, okay? So we can see that there's obviously nothing here for us as a wholesale deal. But if the numbers work out, we can still make money. And honestly, there's ways that we can make even more money than we probably would make on a slim deal like this, okay? So let's take a look at it. So let's just say we got a $70,000 mortgage. There's only $30,000 profit left. They say, you know what? This particular person, they need $5,000. Like, Tommy, I just need $5,000 so I can get out, get a small apartment. I need it for first and security and maybe a little extra so I can get a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment so I can, put somewhere else for my family to live at, right? So this is what the homeowner wants, okay? Owner. So that 5K goes to the owner, all right? So we're up to what? 70 plus 5, 75,000. Remember, the ARV is 100, so there's $25,000 left here. And like that property, like I just mentioned, we come across a property that in order to get it to that $100,000 price point, we don't need to put in, $30,000 worth of work. Maybe we only need to put in another 5 to 10. So let's just say it's 10. We got to put in $10,000 in repairs, okay? Okay, that's a P. So we put in $10,000 in repairs. So now we're at $85,000. Okay. So we're closing on this thing at the 70,000 or 75,000. Let me find out the exact number. So I give it to you, give you the real numbers here. So it's 75,000 because we're going to roll that owner's money into that mortgage times 0.03. No, 75,000. $2,250 in closing costs. That's at 3%. Okay. All right. So here's what we got. We got 70,000 for the mortgage. We got 5,000 going to my owner. We got 10,000 going in repairs, but that doesn't count towards the closing costs. So altogether, we're out at 87,000 out of our pocket, or out of pocket, $87,250. Okay.
Tommy, that's going to be 2.25K.
Yeah, that's what I got. 2,000. That's a comma there.
No, but the way you got it, that's 2,250 with the K.
Thousand. Yeah,
So
I can erase it.
So that's like a millions.
No, that would be a decimal point, but I got you. Right, we'll just erase that K there. Thank you though. All right, but we agree everything the math is the same, right? 87,250. Okay, cool. So at this point, we have a property that right now has not been paid off, but we have to take in consideration of it. But right now, don't worry about that right now. Don't wrap your brain around that. I just want you to look at strictly the numbers. So with these numbers, all these added up, if this thing is ARVing at 100, we have a difference of about $12,750, if my math is correct, okay? The difference between this number and this number, okay? So, meaning that I can get into this property. Listen is how smart this is, okay? The only people, Max told me this is exactly how he words it, and this is genius. He says, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, what we're going to do is we're going to help you out. We're going to go ahead and give you that $5,000. We're going to be invested in it at $5,000 plus we're going to go ahead and pay the closing costs of $2,250. And we're going to do the repairs. So you're going to get your money. The lawyer who's going to do all the legal work contractually to double check that everything is right, they're going to get their money. The construction workers, they're going to get paid. The only people that have to wait on their money are the people that are trying to take your home. That's the bank. The bank is going to you're going to get your money up front. They're going to get their money. The lawyer's going to get their money. The bank is the only one that needs to wait. They're going to have to wait to get their 70,000 because we're going to have to do all of this to get this thing in shape so we can sell it. But once we sell it, then they get their money at the very end. So, because you got to understand the emotional standpoint of where this person is at. Even though whatever happened in their life, whether it was mismanagement of funds, whether they came on hard times, whether or not they got laid off, or whatever the case may be, they're looking at the bank as the enemy because the enemy is the bank is the one that's taking their house from them, right? So they don't mind making that bank wait. As long as they can get their money and we can do everything legally and the contractors are going to come in and they're going to get paid, which they probably don't even care about that. I just throw that in there. What they're seeing is that, oh, I'm getting my money, the lawyer's getting their money. The only people that have to wait are the people that are causing me this problem, which is the bank anyway. I'm cool with that. So what I do in this particular case, this is a case where I would go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to take it down. Remember, I gave you option 1, wholesale it. Option 2, take it down myself. This would be a case where maybe I would wholesale this thing for a $10,000 profit, but here I'm able to get more because I'm able to get the difference between $100,000 and $87,250, which is $12,750. So what I do here is I take this property and I put it on the open market because now I got into this property for $5,000 plus $2,250 plus that 10 to repair. Okay. So instead of having to buy the house all outright or do hard money, this is something that's a lot more manageable. We're talking about $17,250. Okay. And if a lot of times what you're looking for, what you're really looking for is whatever, when you're doing this from our perspective, whatever you are kicking out, you're looking to try to double that. So this would be like a slim one. but it'll be something that we could actually do. So if I can kick out 17,250 and make 17,250 more, I like those deals. I'm doubling my money, right? So let's put a quick pause in here because I know subject twos are a little bit different. Let's put a quick pause. I'm gonna stop sharing real quick, and I want to see if there's any questions. Let me see. I got some stuff in the chat. Okay. The realtor fee comes from which portion of the money? The purchase price. The realtor fee, yes, is going to come from your purchase, from the end purchase, right? And Mo said no realtor fee. Yeah, in the beginning, there's no realtor because we're doing the wholesale thing. I'm talking about on the back end. So remember I said we're going to put on MLS. That's where we're going to do that. So I think you asked that question before I got to that point. Closing costs, yes. Yep. Mo got it. Anybody else have any questions on this part right here?
I got one, Tony.
Yes. Who's that? Oh, there you are, Ali.
So on this, it's really you have to have some funding to be able to pull a subject to off. Is that correct?
Absolutely. You need, if you're going to, no, now if you're going to do, remember I gave you option 1 and option 2. Option 1 is to wholesale it. Option 2 is to take it down yourself. Option 1, all rules apply. You don't need to have any money funding. Let me go back to, let me just show you that real quick. It would be a small, in this particular case, I gave you a very, very small margin because I really wanted to drive the point home that this wouldn't be a wholesale deal if they had a mortgage for $70,000, right? But we can wholesale the subject too, and it still makes sense. It would be a very, very small wholesale fee. So let's just, let me erase something here. Okay. So let's just say we want to add a wholesale fee of maybe $2,000. Okay. So we add a wholesale fee of $2,000. Now we add all that up. It comes to 89,250. Okay. 89,250. Now, let me show you how this could work. As a flip, doesn't look like it's a whole bunch, which it isn't really a whole bunch right there, right? But what someone might do, especially in a neighborhood that's halfway decent, they might say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take over the mortgage. We're going to, from now on, even though the mortgage will be in your name, all I'm literally going to do, I'm going to get on my computer, I'm going to log into your account, and I am going to transfer money from my bank account to the mortgage bank account every single month because I'm invested in this thing 5, 10, 17. I'm invested in $19,000, $19,250. I am not going to just throw $19,250 out the window. I want to keep this property. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to sell it right away. I'm just going to keep paying the mortgage because I know at a mortgage of what you have this mortgage on, this probably is like a $500 to $600 mortgage payment, right? So they're paying $500 every month on a small mortgage, right? And because I know the neighborhood, I know I can rent this thing out for $1,200. Or I can do a short-term rental for, real example is that one I gave you, the one I wholesaled. The lady's husband was in the film industry. It was down there, Fairburn, I think it was called, Fairburn. So it's kind of close to Tyler Perry Studios, and they have people coming in all the time.
Not too far from McPherson, right?
What's that?
Not too far from McPherson, correct?
Correct. So they were renting it out, and they're currently renting it out to the film industry. As crews come in, that they pay a lot higher rent than $1,200, and they rent it out to everybody in the crew. So that's what they're doing. So it wasn't because there was some huge spread there. It's just that their strategy was like, I want residual income, I want monthly income. Okay. So that's still how I can add $2,000 and you find the right buyer, which, is a whole nother example of why you need to have different types of buyers. But find the right buyer, and now you can, something that was not a deal, because you're able to understand this concept and get through it creatively, you're able to find a buyer that would make it work. That makes sense? Good.
No, but
You said no? All right.
I'm just really bad with numbers, so it might be something I might have to do either figure out a private call with you or something, or figure out.
So what's wrong? What's wrong with the numbers here? So we have a mortgage. Remember, the mortgage doesn't get paid up front. Okay, are we clear on that?
Yeah, tracking.
Okay, the mortgage company, Chase Bank, Bank of America, whoever they are, I got you, Jamesia. Whoever they are, they have no idea at this point that Ali is going to take over this. They have no idea that you and the homeowner are sitting down at the closing table with the lawyer, getting ready to do this, getting ready to transfer the deed over from me to you. Okay, I'm the homeowner. You're the wholesaler / investor. Okay. Chase Banks has no idea that this is happening. Okay, they just want to see, hey, on the first of the month, am I getting paid? Okay,
right.
So in their eyes, until they figure it out, or if they figure it out, they might not never figure it out. Until that happens, as long as they get their money, they're cool. So on a small mortgage, something $100,000 or less, you're definitely not talking about thousands of dollars. Unless you're interested, if you're paying $1,000, you went into business with a hard money lender, not a mortgage company, right? You're paying like $500, $600 a month, okay, on a mortgage, okay? So as long as they get their $500 a month in this particular example that we're given, we're fine. So what do we need to bring to the table? We need to pay the owner $5,000 at the closing table, okay? Then we have to pay the closing attorney. There's $2,250. So that's $5,000 plus $2,250. That's $7,250. And in this particular example, I'm saying that actually, let's go here. Let's go here to this wholesale. Like in this particular example, there was a wholesaler involved, and they wanted a $2,000 wholesaling fee. So that's another $2,000 on top of that $7,250, which brings us to $9,250. Tracking?
So we're doing this, looking at it as if, in this particular example, we're looking at it as if we're the buyer, or?
I want you to look at it exactly like I explained it to you. I'm the seller. You are the person who's buying it, and anybody else is the wholesaler. I can see Mo. Mo is the wholesaler. So Mo wants to get his $2,000. So what do you need to bring to the closing table to get into this property, to own this property? Because remember, we're deeding, even though the mortgage is still in my name, I'm deeding you the property, which means you own it, even though I'm responsible for the mortgage.
Right.
Okay. So in order for Ali to own this property, how much money, not repairs, because we ain't talked about that yet. In order for Ali to own this property, how much money has to come out of your pocket?
That'd be the $5K, the $2,250, and the $2,000.
Correct, which equals $9,250.
Okay.
So that's what it takes for you to own it. All right. Now, if you want to make it worth $100,000, what else do you have to do? You have to spend $10,000 to fix it up to make it look good, so it's worth $100,000.
Right.
Okay. So to own it is one amount, but to get it to this ARV right here, we have to spend 10 on it. So out of our pocket, we're going to be spending, or you would be spending, $19,250, because you have to spend this $10,000 in order to make it worth $100,000.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Now you could choose not to spend this and just rent it and say, hey, I got into the property for $9,250, and you'll probably rent. Maybe you won't rent it for $1,200 a month. Maybe you rent it for $800 or $900, right? I don't know. But we know that if you spend 10, you can sell it at this 100, right? And you're definitely going to be able to rent it at a higher mark because it's going to be, you're going to add more value to it. So is the math clear now?
Yeah, the math makes sense.
They can call the loan anytime.
Who said that? Who's there?
I think he said they can call the loan at any time. I think is what he said.
Cool. Let me stop sharing there. I want to know who said that, so I can address that.
Hey, this is Mike of that reception. Hey, yeah, the bank can call the loan anytime, right?
100% they can. When does it ever happen? Give me an example.
Usually it doesn't, because as long as you pay them, like you said, but I just want to make sure that people are aware of the risk.
So,
Hey, Tommy.
Yeah.
Sean.
What's that,
You
Sean?
hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can't say this. I do know a guy who had 7 properties that he took subject to. 3 of them was from the exact same mortgage company, and they did call his loan due.
They called his
But
loan
I
due.
guess, yeah. But
So,
like I said, but out of all those properties, that was the only one that I've ever heard of.
so, and I've gone to subject to classes. Well, I've gone to one, to be honest with you. I've gone to Tony Robinson's subject to class. And he said he stood in front. He currently has over 70 properties subject to right now, 70. He said he went to, this was years ago when he was learning how to do subject to. He was in a room. At this point, we were in a room. This was in Charlotte a couple months back, in a room of about 200 people. He said the room was very similar, of all investors that had been in the game for at least 10 years, that have done to collectively thousands of subject twos. And he said the instructor of the time stood up and said, who here has ever had a loan call due? Not one person has raised their hand. So Sean, I'm really actually surprised to hear that, because I personally this is the very first time that anyone has ever told me that they've even heard of someone have a subject to loan callback. And Tony Robinson, who I highly respect, has over 70 properties right now subject to, and then none of them have ever had the loan call due. But
yeah, I was surprised too, because actually 2 of those deals I wholesaled to him.
wow, so there you go. So, but they're obviously in every loan, and I was going to kind of get to that portion once we go through the contract portion, which hopefully we have enough time. There is a due on sale clause. Actually, let me stick with my format, and then I'll get into that, because I'll get lost in that. I'll get lost in it. We had some other questions. Sean, was that your thing that you wanted to say, or you want me to lower your hand? Or
Yeah, lower it.
okay, all right, cool. All right, I see Carla. I'm sorry, I promise I said Jamesia first. Jamesia, what's up? Where'd you go, Jamesia? Can you unmute yourself?
I can wait to the end. I'm getting stumped. My objection, golly, my mind just drew a blank. Not as there for sale. Oh, I'm not a desperate seller.
Huh?
I'm not a desperate seller. But I can wait to the end, but I need help with that. I'm not a desperate seller. I'm not hard up for money. I don't have to sell. What's my rebuttal? Or what do I say to I'm not a desperate seller? That call.
Are you talking about like the subject to example that we're talking about, or is this something completely
My
different?
question is totally at the end. I can wait until the end.
Oh, something completely different.
Yes, I'll wait until the end of our call.
All right, just remind me, because you threw me way off. I'm like, what are you talking about? All right, Carla, what's up?
Okay, my question is this. Now, when you get to the point where you want to sell it and it's been deeded over to you, so at the table, does it matter? I mean, I think I might have about to answer my own question, but when you're about to sell it, does the mortgage company care can you sell it because the seller has deeded it to you, or would that seller have to come back and be at the table also to make the transaction with you?
No. So here's a very good question. Very good question. So when someone owns a property and they don't pay their taxes, there's a lien placed against their taxes. Understand what a mortgage is. It's just a lien. Okay? As a mechanic or as someone who fixes a house, if I go to your house and you don't pay me, I can put a mechanic's lien against your property. All that means is that if you sell your property, if any money exchanges hands when it comes to this property, if it's held up in court, that I need to get paid before you get paid. Okay? So a mortgage is just like that. So if I didn't pay my taxes and then I didn't pay my taxes, and Carla, you bought my house and I was expecting to get $100,000 for my house, but I owed $50,000 in back taxes. Well, guess what? Surprise, surprise, I'm not getting $100,000. $50,000 of that is going to taxes. The exact same thing with the mortgage company. There's in our example, there's a $70,000 mortgage. So I now own the property, right? I bought it for $5,000. I paid the $2,250 in closing costs. I paid Mo his $2,000. I own the property, right? I spent $10,000 to fix it up, and now I want to sell it. Now, LaKendra comes in, and LaKendra was like, "Man, I love this house. I want to buy it from you, Tommy. I want to buy it for you for $100,000. I say, "Cool." LaKendra is now going to get, we're going to go through the process again with a closing attorney. That closing attorney is going to say, "All right, $100,000, cool. $100,000 here. Oh, hold on. there's a $70,000 lien, aka mortgage, against this property that needs to get paid off before Tommy gets any of his money. And so the old seller doesn't need to be involved in that because the mortgage is still in place. It's never changed. That's, remember, I went through that in the beginning. It's subject to that mortgage, and everything that it's attached to is still in place. So just like the taxes that I didn't pay, that needs to get taken care of first before I get my money. The same thing with that lien. That lien needs to get taken care of before I get any of my money. And anything left over, that's what I can get in my pocket.
Oh, that works. Okay, I understand.
Okay, cool. I try to break it down so I can make sure that everybody understands it. So if you guys don't understand it, please, please, please ask me. Because it took me a while. It took me a while to really understand this, to get the concept of it. And once you get it, it's like, okay, I got it. Bill, what's up, man?
2 questions. Tommy. So before you sub to the deal, are you doing a title search on it?
I'm all right. So if I'm wholesaling it, I have the
wholesaling. You don't need. You're not worried about it.
30, everything is exactly the same.
The same, right?
Exactly the same.
But if you're taking it down,
yeah. If I'm taking it down myself, then I'm going to be a little more involved in that, right? So I'm going to take it to my closing attorney and say, hey, this is, can you check this for me and let me know? But I think what you're asking about is trying to figure out what else is attached to it.
Right.
So besides the mortgage, right?
Right.
Besides the mortgage. So that's going to go through the same process like it normally would, right? The only difference is if I'm wholesaling it, maybe my like in this particular case, I wanted to use my closing attorney, Andy. And I forgot the lady's name. She wanted to use her own attorney, which I actually ended up liking. I think I want to use him more often, especially for subject twos, because there's certain closing attorneys that don't like subject twos, right? Andy didn't want to do it. So this particular attorney does. He does a lot of them, and so that was the only difference. Normally, I go through my attorney. Is that you? You outside?
I'm at the job. Somebody
Oh, okay. All right. I was like, man, Bill.
I'll be really grinding on a bike taking class.
I don't know if that's safe, bro.
And the second question is, would you subject to a property that's underwater, that because they all have the potential to cash flow, depending on the rent area?
I subject to wholesale, sell anything that makes financial sense for everybody involved. If it makes sense, if I can figure out a creative way, there's people that figure out creative ways, man, to find properties that are underwater. Everybody understands what that means, right? They owe more than what the house is worth. There's certain situations where people can still make money off of properties like that, right? So if you can figure out a creative way to do that, then yeah. But I wouldn't try to force a peg in a circle into a square hole, or maybe it's not the way you say that. Square into a circle hole. Who
Circle
cares?
into a square. Yeah, right. I got what you're talking about.
Like if it can work, it can work. But if it can't work, don't try to force it.
Gotcha.
iPhone has a question, and then we're gonna go ahead and kind of go back into this lower hand. iPhone, unmute you, or I tried to unmute you, but I don't know where you're at. Where you at, iPhone? So whoever raised their hand. Oh, let me unmute you. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, say. I have a question. So as long as the mortgage keeps getting paid, the 70,000 is going down anyway.
Correct.
Absolutely.
So who's paying for it? So if you're renting it, so that's a very good point. So I want you guys starting to think through this stuff, right? Think through it, right? I think I've told this story numerous times, but you want to hear it again. There was an investor that was telling me that he owned like a whole bunch of properties, and his wife wanted a brand new Cadillac Escalade, okay? And he was like, all right, we're gonna go buy a house. And he said, no. She said, no, I want the brand new Cadillac Escalade, the SUV with the big tires. That's what I want in the house. We have enough houses. He said, no, we're gonna go buy a house. He went and bought a house, fixed it up, put tenants in it. The tenants paid the rent, covered the rent and the Cadillac Escalade payment. So who actually was paying for her Cadillac Escalade? his tenants. And then also, the tenants were not only just paying for the Cadillac Escalade, the tenants were also paying for the house. So eventually the house gets paid off. So who actually paid for the house? The tenants. So I want you guys to start thinking about real estate like that. Like, okay, I got to spend money to get into this property, but once I put people in it, who's actually paying my mortgage? Is it me? Is that money coming out of my pocket? Yeah, that's money that went into my bank account and then it exited and went to the mortgage company. But who really put that money in there? And then once that money keeps going in there, what happens to my balance? Oh, it goes down. And then once it goes down to a certain point, it's paid off. What can I do? I can equity strip it and buy 2 more, right? So that's how I want you guys to start thinking about how to utilize these properties. So that's a very, very good point. First of all, where'd you go again? I don't know why the screen moved.
Here I am. Oh, wait a minute.
I see it, you're like highlighted now. So I
Okay.
need to just give a shout out to you. Did you make it back to Boston?
I did make it back to Boston. Wait a minute. I'm trying to take this off of video, or I'm trying to unmute myself.
You're
Okay,
good.
I think I'm unmuted. Yes, we did make it back to Boston midnight.
So you and her and the son, they drove, was it 18 hours?
18, 19 hours.
18, 19 hours to come. I'm completely humbled. It's amazing that you drove that far to come for a meetup, like the free meetups that I do. The meetups last like 2.5 hours. So they drove 19 hours. So we had to get together the following day. But that's hustle. That's like wanting to do it. That's like I want to learn this. Like that's serious. So I was amazed by that like this whole weekend. Like really was. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I sent out a deal machine. I think I went to Brockton where you told me, and deal machine I found a vacant house. I put it in. They sent out a letter, a postcard.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's get like 25 of those every week.
All righty.
25 more of those every single week. All right, cool. Somebody say something or no?
Yeah, Antoine, I got a quick question.
Go ahead, Antoine.
Going back to the example you used with the subject to, just say if I had an owner basically want to get out of his house, but he actually want like 50K. You know what I mean? The mortgage, he owed nothing but like 20,000 more. To coming up with the 50K, I would pretty much have to, the only way to give him that, if I want to keep the property, I would have to maybe just go out and act like I'm gonna have to buy that property to get into it.
Let's take a quick look. So from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you would, but let's clear everything.
He just called me today. It's actually a co-worker, so I didn't really get to do them. Like he give me, I put to go check it out sometime next week. But like I said, he was in it for a while. He owed only but 23.5. He just gave me that number right before call.
Let's start off with this. What's the ARV on this?
like 110 or something like that, 115, give or take.
All right. So everybody pay attention, right? Everybody pay attention to Antoine. I'm just picking on you, bro. You know I love you. So anytime you ask a wholesaler what's the ARV, and they like you still trying to figure that out in your head. So just be like, yeah, I'm trying.
You told me too long ago, so I didn't get to do the homework on it, honestly. Because right before call, he just kind of.
Got you. So let's just say, I'm just picking on you, man. I just want to make sure, you start hearing that and you realize that, okay, yeah, they don't know. Right. So let's just say it's 120. Okay. We're going to say 120. You said 115 to 120, I think is what I heard you say. Let's just say it's 120. Okay. So I like doing these because these are real examples that even though this is a deal that you're working on, everybody's going to be able to learn from this, right? So that's what the ARV is. The owner wants what? The want 50K. Okay, he wants 50K. Okay, and and you're trying to see if this is going to be a wholesale deal or subject to.
I'm thinking the subject to it. So I'm thinking the subject to it. I saw some good pictures of it. The house, it looked like he take care of it, and I know I can probably rent it out. So I mean, it depends when I go and look at it. If
Okay.
I don't got to do much work, then I would want to keep it, honestly.
Okay. So if you can see it right now, to be a wholesale deal, we'd have to be all in for 84,000 at that ARV of 120. All I did was take that 120 times 0.7, and that gives me that. So if he wants 50, we're looking okay there. Okay. How much work does it need?
I actually got to go in there and look at it. Nothing major from the pictures I saw on his phone, but I got an appointment to see it this weekend. So like
Okay.
Friday, Saturday, I'm supposed to go look at it.
Repairs are questionable, right?
Yeah. Right.
So we know if we can get this into with the repairs and your wholesaling fee within that $84,000 range, you can wholesale it. But if you want to take this property down yourself and your buyer is not willing to work and wait on this 50,000, to answer your question, yes, you would need to pay him that 50,000. Or here's another creative way of doing it and say, listen, man, you're going to get more money on the back run. Wouldn't you rather make more than 50,000? He's going to say, of course I would want to make more money than 50,000. And this is going to be up to him because he's the owner, right?
Right.
But you can say, listen, I don't know, Antoine, I don't know how much you have to put down. But whatever you have to put down, you tell him that number, okay? I don't know your pockets, so let's just say you have $20,000 to put down. So listen, I'm gonna put down 20,000 down, okay? And I'm gonna take care of the closing costs on this property. And then all you're gonna do is he's gonna hold a second mortgage. He's gonna do what they call a wraparound mortgage, okay? So Antoine's gonna put, so really, what's owed on the house? 50,000? Is that what it is, or did I mistake?
Only 23,000 is old on the house.
23,000.
That's
right.
it.
Let me redo this. Where's my eraser? Okay, so that's important to know too. So mortgage on the house is 23,000. So we can see that's easy math. 50 plus 23 equals $73,000. Okay. So what you can do is you can say, hey, listen, I will take over this payment for you of this 23K. Okay. I'm gonna take over this 20, and it's not whatever his payments, whatever he bought the house for is what he's paying the mortgage on, right?
Right.
So if he bought the house at 120, it's obviously going to be a higher mortgage than off of a mortgage of 23,000. So we'll make sure people understand that. So I'm going to take care of this mortgage payment, so you're not paying any mortgage on it anymore. I'm going to put $20,000 in your bank account. Like I said, I just made that number up because I don't know what you have, what you don't have.
Right.
And then so that mortgage plus this is going to cost, is going to be, the mortgage company is going to take their piece, and then he's going to get some money on the back end. So let's just say the mortgage payment, let's just say it was the same thing. It's $500 a month. Okay. $500 per month. But you're in an area, what is the rental in that area?
Like 9,000.
So
about $1,000 average.
So you're gonna rent it out for $1,000, okay, per month. So obviously we can do this math here. We can see that the mortgage is going to get $500. There's going to be $500 left over. So let's say you say, I'm going to not only give you, I'm going to pay the rent, but I'm also going to put $400 in your account, in his account, right? Every single month, or I'm going to pay you $400 every single month, and I ask for a 36-month mortgage, so 3 years, right? So 400 times 36, that's 14,000, right? Because the difference between 500 and 1,000 in rent is $500, right? Out of that 500, I'm taking 400. It's supposed to be an arrow. Can't do an arrow. 400 is going to go to him, and we're saying that we're going to do that for 36 months, and that's going to equal 36 months equal 14,400. Okay. So he's going to get 14,400 just in that money coming to him every single month, right? That extra 100, that difference between 500 to 100 is going to you. Okay, that goes in your pocket, right? That's a little pocket for you.
Also, the plus about that would be, right, since he already paid, what, 20 years of mortgage, the payment's going to probably hit principal even, you know, better than, so yeah, that I was looking at. Okay.
So he wants 50. You said, I can't give you 50. I don't have the 50, but I can give you 20 and take over the mortgage. So you're not burdened down with the mortgage. You go out and live your life, spend your 20. And then I'm also going to, over the next couple of years, I'm also going to pay you $14,400 in this wraparound mortgage. So 14,000 plus 20, we're at 34. All right. But we still owe the difference here. So he's still going to get the difference between 20 and 50 is 30, right? He just needs to wait on it. He just needs to wait on it. So if he's okay with waiting on it, he's actually going to make his 50 is plus $14,400 in monthly income for the next three years. So he's going to make $64,400 instead of 50.
Okay, cool.
Right? So, and like I said, these are all just numbers I'm just pulling out of the air. You know, if it's 25, then, you know, you can pay 25. If it's 10, you can pay 10. If the rents are higher or it's lower, if his mortgage is higher or lower, it'll be these numbers. You just got to plug and play the numbers. Right. Now that you see what I'm looking at, all you got to do is just put the fake numbers, pull the fake numbers out and put your real numbers in.
Gotcha, man. I appreciate that. That's cool. That's what I needed.
Yep.
Hey, Tommy.
Yes. Who's this?
Hello? Hey, yeah, this is Mike. I spoke earlier on the bank, you know, where some people had a concern with, you know, eventually the bank could call the loan due, right? The note.
Yep.
There's another way, I believe, how you can do it, and correct me if I'm wrong. If you put the property in trust, I think that's a way around it, right? And that way, if somebody has that concern or that fear, that they could eventually call it due, but you had said it had never happened, but, you know, some people, they're scared. Then by putting the property in a trust, I think that way the bank cannot call the loan due. Does that sound about right?
It's not necessarily true, because what allows the bank to be able to call the note due is any transfer of ownership. So meaning,
okay,
I transfer. So here's what that really means. I, Thomas Holt, have a mortgage that I signed for with my social security number. But now I Thomas Holt, create a trust, you know, THJ trust. And I put my own, I deed my property to THJ trust. Okay. With the trust involved and everything else. Okay. So who now is the owner of that home?
The trust.
The trust. So did ownership?
It's a different. It transfer, yeah.
So at that point, even though it's still me. If a bank wanted to do that, they could still call the note due, because it clearly states anytime. Not only it's actually kind of even, it goes into more detail than that. Even a 30 greater than a 36-month lease also can convey that ownership has been, or also can say that ownership has been conveyed, right? So even so a 37-month lease or greater, a bank could say, hey, we're calling the note due.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So the getting your note called due typically just doesn't happen. Like I said, like literally today is the first time that I've heard anybody. I had that same fear when I asked Mr. Robinson, and he made that announcement in front of the whole room. So
yeah, I was there. I remember.
Yeah, that's right. You were there. So you heard that. You heard the exact same thing, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So
thank you, Thomas.
Yeah, man. No problem, man. All right. Anybody else have any questions? 7:53. I'm gonna get to Jamesia here. So subject twos. We first and foremost, we understand mortgage stays in place. We are doing subject to pre-existing financing. Deed is transferring ownership to the end investor. Okay. Deed and mortgage are two different things. Okay. I own the property. Now I can do whatever I want to do with it. But that mortgage, which is nothing more than a lien, don't let the words fool you. It's just a lien. Okay. Just like any other lien, you have to pay that lien off before you can collect your money. You can own the property and not collect money from it once you sell it. I mean, you can own the property, and until you sell it, you're obviously not collecting any money, but that lien has to get paid off before I can collect my money. So as long as the numbers make sense, you can either wholesale it or take it down yourself. It's a very, very good way of doubling your money. It's a very, very good way of doubling your money. You go into a property, that one I gave you at 100,000, I gave you that because I wanted to just really drive that point home. At 0.7, $70,000 of $100,000. It doesn't make sense as a wholesale deal, right? If I have to spend $70,000 on a mortgage and then still put money in it, it doesn't make sense. So I just use the exact same numbers. In all actuality, it would probably be a better deal if I can get that thing. If the mortgage was somewhere around 60 or 55 to 60, you would really be able to see the benefit of like, oh, wow, I can get into this property and literally double my money with very, very little money out of my pocket, right? Subject to is when you're taking them down yourself. If you're taking them down yourself, you're probably going to need somewhere around $20,000 to be safe. That's to get into the property. And again, this is all, I'm not saying this is a hard, fast rule, because if the person is $10,000, like I had one guy call me up in Savannah. He was $20-something thousand. I don't even know how you get that far. He was like $20-something thousand behind on his mortgage, right? I couldn't help him. He was too far. Like the numbers just didn't make sense. Don't use this knowledge. Don't use this tool and try to force things into place. Like that particular one, I wanted to help the guy. Like he had a family. It was a very, very nice house in a very, very nice neighborhood in Savannah, Georgia. But he was like between the mortgage and paying the house, it was just too much. So don't try to force it if it can't be done, right? And I see one person has their hand up, and then I'm going to Jamicia. Who's iPhone? Is that you again, iPhone? Yeah, put your names, man. You take yourself off mute, whoever had their hand up.
I'm trying to, did I
Mhm.
unmute? Good. Yeah, Stacy. Do you have something on the math work? Because I understand the subject too, but I didn't understand the last person's math you were doing. Like, how do we know with the owner? Like, I lost you with the 1,400, I think, of
So
how
here,
we're.
so remember, the most important thing that I'm talking about, this right here is not underwear, right? That's supposed to be a pocket. I don't want anybody thinking you put $100 in your underwear. That's previous lifestyle. All right.
Okay.
So, this right here, remember, I made up these numbers, right?
Right.
Made up these numbers. So where I got this 14.4 is at, I say, okay, here's a creative strategy that you can utilize, given
Right.
off of what his situation is, off of what
Right.
Antoine brought up. Owner wants 50,000. I'm just saying, because Antoine got money. So Antoine probably got 500,000 sitting in his sock drawer. But I'm just saying Antoine doesn't want to spend no more than $20,000.
Okay.
So Antoine, most people say, okay, it's a done deal. Wipe my hands. Let's move on to the next deal. But well, hold on. Let's try create something creative. So in this particular example, I say Antoine says, you know what? I can put 20 down, and I'll take care of your mortgage, because he has a mortgage of 23,000 that's still on this property.
Right.
So that I'm going to pay the mortgage, not all up front. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pay the mortgage on a monthly basis. Every month, I'm going to pay $500 a month for your mortgage. So this guy no longer has to pay this anymore. Okay?
Right.
He doesn't
Yeah.
have to pay that anymore. So he has $20,000 and he's free of this mortgage. And in this particular example, I asked Antoine, how much do properties rent for in that neighborhood? He said 1,000. I said, okay, perfect. So in this particular example, $500 is going to go to the mortgage out of this rent. My tenant is paying me $1,000. I'm taking $500 and I'm putting that onto my mortgage.
Right.
The difference between 500 and 1,000 is 500, right?
Right.
Out of this 500, I say I'm going to send the guy who wants 50, right? The one who wants
Right.
one's guy. I'm going to send you $400 every month. I'm going to put this down onto a wraparound mortgage or a second mortgage with the homeowner. So the mortgage is he's literally going to put a lien out on this property for 36 months. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay.
So if I take my monthly rent of $400, or really it's actually monthly mortgage at this point, because I'm setting up a mortgage with, you understand that you don't have to go into a mortgage with a bank. I can say the word mortgage or promissory note, right? And I can have
Oh,
those
okay.
with just a regular person. I can have that with you. I can have it with Bill. I can have it with Anthony.
Oh, okay.
So at this point, they've taken out a lien on this property, and I owe, just like I was owing the bank money, I owe them $400 on the first of every month for 36 months.
Okay. Until that 23,000 is paid up.
No, because I'm not planning to do that. What I'm trying to show Antoine in this particular example is that the 500 goes to the 23, right? That actually goes to the bank. Okay, so
Okay.
that's going to go down.
I got you. All right, that's right. That's right.
That's not going to get paid off in 36 months. Okay.
Okay.
What I'm trying to do is show that how he can get into this property, because this is all about just getting into the property. Okay. And
Okay.
into the property using this creative way over 36 months, he would have paid out of this 400 times 36, $14,400, right?
Okay.
This money, this $14,400 is going to the owner. So the owner, originally, you got to give if I can't give you $50,000 up front, if I'm going to pay over time, then I need to pay more than what I was going to give you if I gave you up front. That makes sense?
Yes. Yes, it does.
I got to give him the benefit of, why am I going to wait 3 years on my money? Well, you're going to wait 3 years because you're going to get $14,400 more dollars than if you were to sell it right now.
I got you.
Okay.
Okay.
So those numbers come from. Yes, the mortgage is going down, but the reason why I'm doing this is because of this number right here. Right? He said the ARV is somewhere between 115 to 120. Okay.
Oh, I got you.
So right now the homeowner wants 50 plus the 23. That would be 73 to take this thing. If I had $73,000 right now, I could give him $73,000, and then I would have to pay to get it fixed, to get it renovated, so it's worth this 120. But guess what? I can do this now over the course of how long? 3 years.
3 years. Okay.
All right. And the difference is $100 here, right? Because I'm paying him $400. $100 is going to my pocket. It's not a lot of money. It's not going to be life-changing money, but it's something that you should be stacking away. And then maybe instead of having to spend all, $5,000 on a roof, maybe over the course of 2 years, you saved up $2,400, and now you're cutting that roof cost in half. Now your construction price is going down, right? Because we bought into this property so we can sell it, 3 years later at $120,000.
Okay. I got it.
Perfect.
Tommy,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tommy, just to make sure that I understand, so the other $30,000 is going to come when he sells the property?
Yes, correct. He's still getting that. Like I said, he's just getting it in payments. Let me go back to it real quick. So, all right. So the total amount that the owner, not the bank, don't think about the bank right now. The total amount over the life of this thing that he's going to be getting is $64,400. Okay. That's the total amount that he's going to get over the life of this deal. But it's broken down into really like 3 phases. He's going to get $20,000. He's going to get $20,000 now, right, up front. Okay. Then he's also going to get, over the course of 3 years, the $14,400. Okay. But that's going to come every single month in the form of $400 increments, right, over the course of the next 3 years. Tracking, right? And then when we sell it, there's still this $30,000 difference that we have to account for, because what is it? It's a mortgage, right? Just like this 23. If we were to buy this, if we paid him 50, we can't just negate this 23. You see what I'm saying? We still have to take care of this 23. So he's still going to say, all right, I wanted 50. Don't think about it any different, right? As a mortgage. You put a down payment on the house, you're not paying for the whole house, right? You put the down payment down, so the bank gets a little bit of money, but they're also going to get extra money as you pay it every month. But early, you still have to take care of what you originally said you were going to pay. So it's the exact same thing. Hey, I wanted 50 today. I'll take 20, which means you owe me 30, and you're going to pay me $400 a month. That $30,000 lien is still there that needs to get taken care of. So he's just getting it in 3 different phases. 1, 2, and 3, right? When you do the math, it all adds up. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes sense.
Perfect. Thank you for asking that question. So make sure, guys, if it doesn't make sense, we're just going to keep going through it until it makes sense to you. All right? Because you got to understand this. So if you have a question about it, ask the question now, forever hold your peace. All right?
Hey, Tom. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So I got a quick question as well. So going back to that example, I saw that you had 36 months. Where did that 36 months come from? I got lost at that point.
Don't get, you got to, so guys, when I do these examples, really, really lock in. And I'm not saying you weren't, Alan, but really, really lock in. I was just giving an example. I was just literally making up on the fly. So if I was in Antoine's position, I would push for a 36-month deal, right? He might rebut and say, 36 is too much. I can do 24, right? And we just got to figure it out from there. But it's not a hard, fast rule, is what I want to make sure you understand. That's just, obviously for me, if I'm the person who's, or let's just say for Antoine, since we stay in the context of the example, for Antoine, it's better for him to have more time than less time, right? It would be better for him to have a year than 6 months. It would be better for him to have 2 years than 1 year. Better for them to have 3 years than, he can always pay it off early, but it's always better for him to have more time. So I'm trying to show him probably how I would try to structure this thing if I was in his position. But yeah,
got you. So it was just,
huh?
As I got you. So it was just like part of the negotiation. Because I was doing some math. I was like, why don't you just use 46 months? Because that's the payoff at 23. That's how I was thinking in my head. But as I see now, it was just random.
Yeah, it was just a random number. Exactly. Yeah. Cool. All right. Jamesia.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just keep getting stumped with the same objection when I'm making my calls. I'm not a desperate seller. I don't need the money. What do you say?
Okay. Well, listen. Well, first of all, before I answer that question, are we wholesaling to anybody who does not need to sell?
No.
So if they don't need to sell, right, and we can't work out a subject, because some people that are subject to type properties that probably don't need to sell, might be able to handle it. But your bread and butter, where you're going to be able to help the most people, is people that need to sell. So if you're talking to people that don't need to sell, you're not to say that you can't get a deal, but the statistics are going to say that you're going to get less deals.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So then it would just be, okay, you don't want to sell this property. Do you have any other properties you may want to sell?
I wouldn't go directly into that. I would say, okay, well, they're on the phone with you for some reason. So there's a want to sell, right? So let's look at it like psychologically, right?
Well, I called them. It's from my high equity vacant list.
Okay, so high equity vacant list. So you called, but they're having a conversation with you, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I get them to hold a conversation.
So there's obviously a thought in their mind that, okay, I could sell this property, right? So at that point, only thing I'm trying to figure out is I need to figure out, number one, do they make them understand that I can't pay retail, right? I can't pay retail because I'm an investor and this is how I eat. If I buy it at the highest point possible, let's just be real. Let's be honest with you. I'm not taking advantage of you, but there needs to be some cushion there so I can make some money. If they can agree upon that, then my next point is setting the appointment, not trying to get a number out of them right then and there. So if I let them know, so I say, Jamesia, you say, I don't need to sell. Well, great, Jamesia. I don't need to buy. And that's the beautiful thing between this relationship is neither one of us are going to be forced in a position where we need to do anything. All I'm trying to do is I'm an investor and, it's how I eat. This is how I make money for my family. This is how I support my family. So obviously I can't buy at the top of the market. I can't buy at the very height of the market and sell at the high of the market because then I'm not making any money. I want it to be a win-win situation. And if you're okay with a win-win situation where I can make some money and you can make some money, then I would love to come out and see your property. What's the best day for you? Thursday at 7 p.m. or Sunday at 10 a.m.?
Got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Just qualify it. set the appointment because you probably, if you're anything like me, you could probably negotiate a lot better in person than over the phone.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. All right. I saw Denard and Sasha. Let me go Denard first.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
All right. Just with the subject too, with the scenario you gave with Antoine. So
Yeah.
if he hold on to it for 3 years, I know we always supposed to like pay attention to our market, but wouldn't we have to like pay more attention because in 3 years the market could go up or down? So that would give like.
Absolutely. But first and foremost, let me just, because I don't know if you just said it in passing. I want to make sure that we understand that last deal that I just did with Antoine, that last deal on the
Right, was just a made up deal.
It was a made up deal, but it was not a subject to deal. You said the last deal that he did, that was a subject to. I just want to make sure that you understand this is not a subject to deal. This is a wraparound mortgage deal.
Okay.
So there's a difference. Okay. We're not really, we're not doing this. Like I need to take out this mortgage with, this is the owner right here.
Right.
Actually, I do take that back. We are doing something with this 23 here. So I can't see that. But what the main thing I wanted to show him is that, because his main question was like, he doesn't want to pay the $50,000. So I just kind of wanted to show that there's other creative ways of getting this deal done. That was the whole point of this particular one.
Okay. Well, I was just speaking on like the 3 years. I'm guessing like just holding on to it, imposed to like wholesaling, where it's right then and there, and holding on to the 3 years, and you investing basically $60,000.
Here's the other thing, though. Here's the other thing. So there's other ways to think about this, right? This is why it's so great to get involved in these RIAs and get around other investors and to come on the coaching calls like this, right? So I wouldn't be too hopeful with this coming year, but does anybody know what the average appreciation of real estate nationwide is per year? Anybody?
Hey,
go ahead. Someone was about to say something.
Tommy, last I checked, I thought it was like 3 point something.
Yep. So on average, it's about 3%.
Vanessa is on the way to the Falcons game. Oh, I know, I'm joking.
Oh, really, Jamesius? Somebody on the Falcons game? Oh, you better bring me something too. Y'all better watch out, man. Y'all go off mute, but I'll be hearing everything. So the other advantage of this, right, is if we're in those, not in 2020, please don't use this strategy in 2020 because I think we're going to take that downturn. But in a normal trend of the market with real estate, we're going to go up 3% per year.
Right.
Over the course of 3 years, that's 12% worse. So this ARV of 120, next year, it'll be 120 plus 3%, whatever that is. And then it'll be whatever that is plus 3%. And whatever that is plus 3%. So one of my buyers in South Carolina, that's what they do. That they buy properties in B-class neighborhoods. They hold on to them for 7 years because that's 21% on average of it going up. And then they sell it after 7 years. Okay. So that's a strategy. So that's one thing that I would look at as a positive, because if you ever look at the history of the market, the price, the house that you're in right now, if you look at when it was first built, I guarantee you, no matter what part of the country it's worth more now than it was then. If you look at the history, grand scheme of things, not just like 2008 to 2012, I'm talking about looking at the overall for last couple of centuries, you're going to see real estate trends up. Always. It's going to keep trending up. It's never going to stop. It's going to take some dips. It's going to come down, and it's going to go right back to trending up. And when you look at it overall, it's going to trend up. So you have to understand that that's a part of a real estate strategy is using that appreciation, right?
Okay. I got you. That's all I wanted to know was with that.
Cool.
I got you. Okay.
All right, man. Thanks for the question. All right, Sasha, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man.
Good. So I just want to thank you, first of all, because I started this on the 1st and just got a property under contract yesterday. So
that's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. That's what's up.
I had a couple questions about that property, though. I got under contract for $150K, and the ARV.
Let's go to the whiteboard, so because I'm wrong thing. Hold on. Stop sharing. Share.
Go over the contract when you get a chance.
I need to see the numbers. Okay. All right, brother. So let's go. So we got it under contract for what?
150K.
Okay. All right.
And the ARV is 330.
Ooh, okay. I'm liking it already.
And so the whole house needs to be completely gutted, and the foundation it looks pretty messed up. So I'm kind of worried about that. But so the repair costs I'm looking at, I think it's going to be around 85 to 90K in repairs.
Okay, I would go on the higher end.
Okay.
Say, where are you at, Sasha?
I'm in Denver.
Oh yeah.
And so also the investors, they don't look for 30% out here. Like 16 to 15% is a good.
Yeah, so Denver is one of those markets. Number one, Denver is one of those markets where the appreciation on that joint is like freaking what 9-10%.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
But it's also expensive too. So
Yeah.
let's just add 95. Let's say 95K on the repairs. Let's see if these numbers work. Okay. All right. And you said you got under contract for 150, right? Okay. And what do you want on wholesaling fee?
So that's the question. I just wanted to see what I should start out with when I,
Okay, cool.
Send it out to my email list, and then I don't know what I should start it off at.
So what did you do? You did the 330 times what?
I did 330 times 0.84.
0.84. You have to understand what that means, right?
Yeah.
So instead of getting the 30% would be times 0.7. Why? Because the difference between 100% and 70% is a 30% profit margin. So he's saying that the profit margin in Denver, not ideally, but customary, is 16%. So he just took, what's the difference between if you take 100% and minus 16, 84. So he did a 0.84. So that means an investor wants to be all in for $277,200. Okay. So that's what they want to be all in. So now we just got to work backwards. So we understand that we got to subtract 95,000 for repairs. So I'm going to subtract 95,000 for repairs. That brings me down to 182,200. Right? So now we got to subtract what it cost for our contract, because our homeowner has to get paid. So we got to subtract 150. So that leaves us with 32,200. It's not a bad wholesaling fee.
Oh.
Okay. So this could be his fee if he decides to sell it at 182.2. All right. Because in his market, which in Denver, this is why I say the 0.7 is just like, that's like the average across the country. But there's markets in like those really, it's really like the A-class city markets is where they're like Miami. You're talking about they're more like instead of a 0.7, they're more like a 0.76, 0.75. New York, they're like a 0.8, right? So normally it's where the real estate is higher, because even at a 0.6, the difference between here and here is a decent little margin, right? So his wholesaling fee could definitely be somewhere around $30,000.
Not bad. So I was wondering, so what should I start what should I send out as my first price? What should I price it at?
182.2.
182.2. All right. Sounds good.
Right at 182.2. And here's one thing about what I love about just business in general, right? Stop sharing here. What I like about business in general is that the market is going to dictate what it's worth. Market is the market. Like Gary Vee talks about that all the time. The market is the market. I feel like I'm the best rapper in the world. Well, guess what? The rest of the market thinks you suck. So it doesn't care what you think you are. I think the house is worth $500,000. Well, guess what? Everybody else thinks it's only worth 350. So guess what? We don't care what you think. The market is the market. So you put it out at 182 too. How much time you have in that contract?
45 days.
Perfect. You put it out at 182 too. You send it out. Do you have buyers already in your buyers list?
Yeah.
Okay. You took the photos like I showed you to take the photos in the video?
Yep.
And lay it out just like that for them because they have everything there to make a buying decision. If you're not getting bites on that deal, like within the first like 2-3 days, I would start calling them up. Hey, did you get my text? Actually, within 2 days, I would say, hey, did you get my message? What do you think about the property? And just do an inventory on what people are saying. Call 5-6 of them, whatever, how many people you have on your buyers. Call them up and get a feel for what they're saying. It's just, we don't think that it's a $95,000 repair. We think it's more like a $120,000 repair. You keep hearing people say that same thing. Well, maybe you got your repairs wrong. Okay. It might not be the price. It might be that the repairs are wrong. But then that money has to come from somewhere. So like, okay, well, what if I brought down the price after you've got that from a couple different people?
Okay.
Right? Or maybe a couple people say, it's just too much. We think the repairs are perfect, but we want to make a little bit more. Right? Would you be okay with making 20,000?
Yeah.
So that's how you figure out your what you should be wholesaling it for. Right?
Okay. For sure.
Cool.
Thank you.
Awesome. Man. Congratulations, bro.
Thanks.
All right. Mo, you're gonna be my last one here. There we go.
I just unmuted. I just got a question about pulling probate lists. It's like a property like close to one of the hospitals that I work at. And like, I've been salivating on this thing because I keep seeing the little code enforcement signs in this guy's yard. The neighbors can't stand, they're saying the property's exposed and all this other stuff. But I think the guy's dead. He's like 80 something years old. The house was built like in 1920 and it's like so close to downtown Orlando. I'm trying to figure out how to find out if the guy is dead or something. He didn't even buy the property because like when I was looking at it on the county list, it was just a quit deed for like $100. And it looked like that was probably like his brother, like 10 or 15 years ago.
Okay, hold on one second. Did you go through been verified? Did you check there?
I did not. I will try that though.
Use the obituaries too, Mo.
What is it?
Obituaries. So I do probate out in Louisville. That's one way to do it too. You look up the obituaries. Normally they can allow you to search by the name of the person.
Okay.
Search his name and it'll tell you whether he or she's dead or passed away. I mean, I said dead.
Okay, obituaries. That was it.
All right. Let's see if we can do something here real quick. You guys see my screen or no? Or are you looking at me? Mo,
I'm looking at you. I still see you, not your screen.
All right. How do I get back to you? There we go. We solve problems on this call.
Oh, snap, he brought up the Tilo.
All right, what's his last name?
It is. If you wouldn't have asked me, I would have had it. It's like Henry.
I'm logged in, ready to go, man. I'm ready to skip trace this dude.
You didn't tell me you was doing that. I would have pulled it up. I got it in.
Coming to call, you better be ready.
I know the address though. Give me 2 seconds. I got it in my deal machine. Let me see how long it takes for my app to come up.
You got the address on your deal machine?
Yeah, I got the address in my deal machine.
Okay, cool.
Try
to pull it up quick because I'm hungry.
I knew that's what you was about to say.
Oh,
last name is Steinborn.
Spell that for me.
Steinborn. First name is Henry.
2 N.
Henry.
Hold on. There we go.
And he's in Orlando.
I don't know why this thing always pops up. I can't see my screen here.
Hit escape.
No. What's the address?
1240 Nebraska Street.
Bro, I can't even see nothing. Did I spell Nebraska right?
Yep, that's right, and it's 32803.
Does he have a middle name, middle initial?
Jay. And he's junior, if that matters.
Can you come in? Come in. The dog not gonna do nothing. He gonna just bark, but he ain't gonna do nothing.
I know.
You look like I'm not scared of that little dog. You got the card machine? Okay.
Hang on.
She wanna look at that. Open it up.
I don't know if you listen to us.
I want to check it out.
She wanna check it out.
Because last time I ordered some new people, the sandwich.
All right. I guess you don't care. Steinborn. Well, on the result, boom. This is Asher's 1240 Nebraska Street.
Yep.
Subject's phone. We got a 407-203-2734. Doesn't look like he's dead.
All right, I'm gonna try that.
You got this number right here?
I just got it.
All right, let me see if we can find some more.
203-2734.
Yeah, this one right here, 407-601 is a 100% match right here.
That's the one I think I've been downloading that just rings and rings and rings.
Yeah, you probably just got so many that ring and ring and ring. And then you got these email addresses here, possible email addresses.
And I've seen the net zero. Okay.
Let me see. And here is his family tree.
Dude, that's what I need.
All right, so blue is relatives, greens are associates, red is possible associates. So Hazel Steinborn has passed away, but there's a Milo Steinborn that I would probably look for.
That's who we got the property from, the Milo dude.
Okay, so if you got the property from Milo, why do you need him? You can't.
Okay.
Milo can't find him.
I thought Milo was dead. The way that it looked on the just looking at the property records, I thought he may have been dead. Because they're all like in their 80s.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Subjects here. So Henry is this guy. Is the guy for Milo is the guy that you're saying that you're talking to?
I haven't talked to any one of them. I was just like looking on the county records, like based on like the quit deeds.
Okay. So I would look at these people right here, McConnell, whatever his name is. He looks young. Eddie Watson. And I will go with Milo and then Richard O'Neill Steinborn.
Okay.
He was born in 1933. He might be pushing it. He was born in 32. But those are people, this one, Hazel was done. But normally when they're dead and they passed away, they have this little red D.
Okay.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No problem. No problem. All right. That's going to wrap up this issue of how to stalk anyone and how to do subject twos. So hope you guys got some value out of this. Hopefully you learned something. Hello? Let me put you back on mute. All right, cool. Hope you got some value. Hope you learned something. Hope you got a little better understanding of subject twos. And through Antoine's example, a deeper understanding of how to maybe look at things more creatively. So from now on, every time you find a deal that doesn't make sense as a wholesale deal, I want you to try to look at it from a different lens. Don't just give up on that deal and say, oh, it doesn't work. Hold on to it. If you can't figure it out on your own, bring it onto the coaching call, and we'll try to figure it out together before we discard that and say, okay, this is a done deal. There's some of them that can't. There's some of them that, just, right? Actually, there's a lot of them that are like that. But we just got to go through the motions until you guys till you're at the point where you can just think about it like, okay, this makes sense. I could just try it this way, right? All right, everybody. I'm out of here until next time. So Wednesday, keep in mind Wednesday will be a very short, to the point call because I'm actually going to be, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm probably going to be doing it maybe for my car or something. Because I literally get off with you guys at 8 o'clock and I go on stage at 8:05. So I have to hustle and be done. So don't be mad if I'm short with you. You know I love you. All right, but I gotta rush and go straight from there to go speak 8 o'clock. So I don't know what we're going to be talking about on Wednesday, but we'll figure something out. It might just be Q&A. so I can kind of make sure I gauge it, make sure I get through it. Let's do Q&A. Let's do Q&A for Wednesday. Bring questions. I know you guys got them. We'll just answer questions for as long as I can. We'll probably start wrapping up around 7:50 so I can get my mind right to remember what the heck I'm going to say in front of all these people. All right. You guys have a blessed one. Love you guys. Let's go out there and kill it. Congratulations again, Sasha. Let's make some money. Ollie, I see you out there working. Bill, I'm glad to be back. Welcome back. Welcome back. And Antoine, I want to hear about that deal, man. So y'all have a blessed one, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Peace.
Peace.
Bro.
Thanks, brother.
Peace. Bye.